Thank you. Good evening. This is the Town of Eastchester Planning Board meeting of Thursday, September 28, 2023. If everyone would rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to do the roll call, but before I do that, I'd like to introduce two people before we get to the roll call. There's Joe Rubino is joining us, and Michael Fortino on the far, I guess you're right. The two members that were on the board in those seats previously, Louis Campana is now on that side, and we thank you for all of the input you had over the years you spent here, Louis, and the same to Mark, wherever he is. Thanks, Mark, for all the service you gave over the years here also. So that being said, the roll call, number one, Mr. Phil Nemesak.
Present.
Okay. Michael Fortino.
Present.
Joe Rubino.
Present.
Jim Bonanno's here. And Anthony Jacoby.
Present.
Great. The applications we have here, just I'm sure you have the minutes there. It's the old matter is the subdivision on Tuckahoe Avenue. That's 21-17, 15 Tuckahoe. New applications are 38 Tuckahoe Avenue, 65 Middle Road, 59 Overlook Avenue, and 360 White Plains Road. And we're going to go in that order.
It's Michael Fortuno, right?
Fortuno.
Okay.
Did I say Fortuno?
I think you said Fortino.
I haven't.
We want to get it right.
I'll get it right in a little while.
Okay.
So we're going to do...
It's tough, these Italian names, you know?
So there's Mr. Nemesak and Anthony. There's meeting minutes we could approve because the three of us were present for the minutes of March 23rd, 23, May 25th, 23, and June 22nd, 23. So subject, did you get all your comments in, Phil?
Not to the June 22nd one. I haven't finished that one yet, but I did get them into March some time ago, as well as the May one earlier today.
So then I make a motion to approve the minutes of March 23rd, 2023, and May 25th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good job, Phil. The application we're doing now is 21-17, 15 Tuckahoe.
Good evening, Michael Mastrogiacomo, design engineer for the project. When we were last in front of you, we presented the revised drawing. We've been working with the town consultants to go over the stormwater management plans and tidy up some little odds and ends. Just come around here. So one of the things we've done in this new design is, since the residents were here last, they were wondering how the sheet flow over the lawn would be going onto the neighbor's property. We've created some swales and an extra storage pond for any overland flow to try to slow down any water coming off the grass coming out here. One of the other things we've worked on with your consulting engineers, we have a stormwater management system on this unbuildable lot. We're planning on making this a small park with like a playground, some benches, something for this HOA, because we're gonna have to do an HOA in order for maintenance for the stormwater management. And what we thought was, if we do a little parkland here, it'll actually force the HOA to also cut the grass and keep it clean. Otherwise, grass is just gonna get too high. Another in your package, we also prepared some sketches of the different homes that we could get an idea of what we're doing for each lot. Again, there'll be four new homes. So this will be lot 2. This would be roughly lot 3, lot 4, and then the last lot. And that will be the lot next to the stormwater management system. So we tried to mix up, some different colors. That way it doesn't look just bland. Again, this would have to go back to you once they decide to build the houses and go to the Architecture Review Board for final designs.
Stand by, I had a question. So the lot over there is obviously the one that the detention tank is going under, and you're saying you're going to put a park or something on top of it?
Yes, yes.
And it feeds out to the street, I guess it's on the site plan?
Yes, on the utility drawings, there's a series of piping to go down and tie down at the end of Tuckahoe Avenue near Sage Place. That's the closest catch basin
And
in
that's
order
where
to
it goes.
provide overflow. And that pipe down there is a 24-inch pipe, so it's a very large pipe tying into.
Sure. So how does it release to the storm drains? Is it timed, or is it by gravity?
Well, no, it's timed. So what happens is, as
I know this is not what we do, but just in general.
So as the water's collected, it's brought into these tanks. So the tanks, what happens is they come in high. That way then all these tanks are tied in together. They'll start filling up. Once it reaches a capacity of over a 100-year storm, then it'll overflow out, come across, come through this easement, and go down Tuckahoe Avenue.
Oh, what determines the flow of that? Just gravity, or is it?
Gravity.
It's just gravity?
Everything's gravity, correct.
Oh, got it.
Because the property slopes from, I guess that would be
It goes from this corner down.
west to east.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since we're picking up the grade in order to build the road, we're able to pick it up in order to create positive pitch.
What is the difference in grade between west and east? I've probably asked this before. Oh, it's on the drawing.
You're at 218 to 214. It's 4 foot.
4 feet?
Yeah.
And in the other direction, north-south?
From front to back, you're at 222 to 212. So there's 10-foot difference front to back.
So naturally drained that way and that way?
Yes, it'll go this way and then back that way.
Over. Okay, cool. So, I know this is an open public hearing, so we're going to have some comments, but my understanding is that there's still some issues regarding the drainage that we're working out with Mr. Tremelli?
Yes, there's some just clarifications, verifications, stuff like that. Housekeeping type stuff. That way Mr. Cimelli could be okay with approving the design.
Oh. Is that the nature of what the things Joe is addressing, or is there bigger issues?
I mean, it's that plus other issues, like, there's, you know, this, the road geometry, how, you know, there's a number of things, that we have to discuss. We have Mr. Tremelli, he made this memo back in, January, so we went through it. You know, there's a number of outstanding issues that we're just gonna go work through, when we meet next week.
Oh, so they haven't been addressed?
Yeah, we're still working
Being
it out,
addressed.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Are there overall issues about the percolation test and about the soil type?
That was all done.
That's all-
And
we're
Mr.
okay with that?
Cimelli's office
Yeah,
witnessed
Joe
everything.
witnessed that,
Yeah.
but we're gonna discuss that next week when we meet.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What's the total impervious? Is it on here somewhere?
I'm sorry?
The total impervious? Is there a number?
The total impervious, no, it's not on here, unfortunately, I'm sorry.
So,
The existing home at, I guess it's 15 Tuckahoe?
This is 15
Yeah,
Tuckahoe.
that's going to be untouched?
This is going to remain untouched. The
Okay.
driveway's going to stay. The only thing is this garage that's kind of, it needs a lot of repair. It's crossing over the proposed line, so that's the piece that's going to be taken down.
Okay. And the property lines on 15 are compliant with whatever the zoning requirements are? or
Well, we need, this is part of the variances that we need.
That is part of the
Yeah,
variance, okay.
so we need variances for the side yard and front yard because to keep the existing home. We need a variance for this radius, which we cannot obtain because that's a neighboring property. And I believe there's like one or two other things.
Right, the subdivision road is too close to White Plains Road by like 10
Yes.
feet, yeah.
That was the other one.
so those three?
Yes.
Those are the three? Okay, we're somewhat familiar with those. Okay. So you are here just presenting to us. Okay, so it's a public hearing. Can we just see if anyone has something? Any comments from the public? Please come up.
Good evening. Vincent Onyebani, 14 Tucko Avenue. I have concerns about the plan development as it's presented now. I believe it would put a burden on an already overloaded storm and sewer system. The property there already floods in the back and has a high water table. Now, with the proposed development, all that water will be collected and funneled into the storm system directly in front of my house. It'll definitely impact my house, and it'll impact the houses further down the block who are already dealing with water issues as it is. I believe the outdated infrastructure in the block cannot handle development like this. So I just want you to consider all those facts when you decide to move forward with this project. Thank you.
Where is your house?
It's right across the street.
Oh, on the other side of the street. Gotcha.
Can you tell me how long has that house been up across the street, your house? When was it built?
I'm
think we
not
approved-
certain when the house was built. I'm sorry, I'm Maria Onyebani. Vincent is my husband. We
Okay.
live at 14 Tucko Avenue. We've owned the house for about 7 years or so, approximately. I couldn't tell you right at this minute when it was built.
Okay, I think, I recall approving, I can't remember if both the houses, your house and the house next door were built at the same time, or whether one was
The house
built.
next door to the left of us was built. That was a new construction.
Our home is not new construction. Our
got it.
home was a series of extensions.
Yeah, I remember
And
approving one of the
updating.
homes. Yeah, and not that
Right.
long, I mean, maybe.
There were 2 existing homes on that property. One was demolished and a new home was built in its place, and ours was an existing home that has been
Got
renovated
it.
with an extension, nothing needing variances, all to code, all
Good, okay.
I's dotted, T's crossed, as they say. So I just want to add a little bit to what my husband said. I did address you in writing. I'm assuming that you did receive that.
Yes,
Our concerns are very real. They're, as I'm hoping you're aware, the infrastructure in our neighborhood is at max capacity as is. An addition of 4 new homes is, we believe firmly, going to create a burden within our neighborhood that, I mean, it's not just in our neighborhood, it's to the resources of the town, because ultimately it's not just us. But it's going to create a burden that is completely not necessary. This development is not necessary. We're not in support of it tonight as it is being presented. I mean, I don't mean to be crass in my addressing of you right now, but we're talking about colors of hardy plank right now. I'm sorry, has this project been approved?
Yeah, we're not really paying attention to that.
Right, so we're here talking about colors of hardy plank.
No, we're not. We're
There are
talking about this.
I know, that's rhetorical. We're here talking about colors of hardy plank on a project that is very much at infancy from where I stand. There are neighbors that are not here tonight because, frankly, they're immigrants and they have not a firm, aren't able to firmly communicate in English. So, but I know with certainty that there are other neighbors with very serious concerns who are stakeholders who have been residents for decades, and they already suffer because of, again, the infrastructure within the neighborhood. This is, as it is, there are other options for this applicant. There are other options for this applicant. This is not it. This is just a bad idea. It's a bad idea for all of us, I think. So, and it's all in the public record. You know, I can't imagine, I mean, what you have there between the grade between the street and the rear of the property where they're proposing this retention, you have over a story difference. By a story, I mean it's over 10 feet, more than 10 feet. There's going to be a dramatic slope on that road, not to mention the high water table. As soon as those retention tanks get installed, those are going to fill with water simply from the water table. Forget about the runoff. So those are going to be filled with water likely always because of the high water table back there and the flooding that already is a very regular occurrence back there. It doesn't affect anyone currently because there's nothing back there. It's vacant land. So it fills up and slowly it drains. You know, a day, 2 days, a week, whatever it is. Once this road gets installed, which is gonna have a pretty dramatic slope, right? Because we're talking about 10 feet on how many linear feet is that road? 100 feet, 150 feet? You're going 10 feet in grade. That's gonna fill up immediately, and then it's supposed to slowly creep up via an easement across across private property to a connection to the street. I mean, I know you're all very well informed of the application, and you're all very familiar with it, but please take a look at it again, and then take a look at it again. And go to the property, go to the site, walk the site after a rainstorm. I suggest you do that.
Can I ask you, first of all, I would agree with you that, you know, this development is not necessary. There are very few developments that are necessary.
Right.
But the owner does have certain rights to develop the
Absolutely.
property. So you've, I think both in your letter and here, you've mentioned the burden that this would place on the neighborhood. And certainly, one of the issues that we and the consultant that the town hires examines very carefully is the issue of stormwater management. That's an issue, you know, I think we're going to get another half inch tomorrow. It seems like we live in a rainforest now. But that's certainly an issue that we hear over and over again on this board. And, you know, even in the drier times, we hear it. And it's been a pretty wet summer and into fall already. So that's an issue that we're going to, you know, I don't have expertise in that area. And anecdotally, we can all cite a particular storm where there was deep water and maybe mud and whatever. But we have to rely on our consultants to tell us, is this going to make the problem worse? Is it going to make it better? Is it going to be the same? If it's going to make it better or worse, how much better or worse? So that issue is going to be addressed. You can be sure of that. Apart from that, and apart from simple mathematics of adding 4 homes, you're adding vehicular traffic, you're adding pedestrian traffic, perhaps. What other burdens can you identify that would be put on the neighborhood by building this development?
I mean, we haven't discussed the sewer system, the sanitary sewer system. We're not even there yet. I don't even see it fleshed out in this plan, truly. So, again, we're talking about colors of hardy plank. Let's come back to what needs to be looked at and discussed. Mm-hmm. And this is another very real concern, okay? There have been issues in the neighborhood related to the sanitary sewer, and luckily we've been okay, but I cannot say that about other neighbors. And I'm certain that if you speak to the fire department, who is regularly pumping people's basements out, it's all documented. Somebody calls the fire department, it's all documented. So there are many homes along Tuckahoe Avenue, along the other streets that branch off of Tuckahoe Avenue that have very serious problems when it comes to the sanitary sewer. And this is not going to help that.
Well, sometimes I will point out that sometimes in exchange for permission to develop a property, sometimes the town requires some sort of measures to be taken by the applicant to try to alleviate certain problems. I know we did this with Ray Place, where there were requirements that the applicant I think there was a sanitary sewer problem there as well, and that they had to scope the entire thing and look for issues that might be able to be improved, but hadn't been identified yet. Because what you're telling me and what I'm hearing is there are already problems.
Yeah.
And I know logic would tell us if there are already problems, you add 4 homes, there will be more problems. But what I'm saying is if you also take some remedial steps, it is possible that it could be better rather than worse.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
So we can discuss that when that proposal comes before you. Because tonight, you don't have that information. Am I correct, or am I incorrect?
Can I talk?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have those, did they do studies of sanitary and storm?
I mean, that's still forthcoming.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're not there.
No, we're not there yet.
Okay, so we're not there yet.
Right,
It's not, we're not overlooking them, they're being done, and once they're
Right.
here, we'll be able to comment.
right. So, I mean, I guess we'll talk next month.
Yeah, no, you're welcome back, but before you leave, tell us something. You said there's other folks in the neighborhood that don't speak as well. Their concerns, are they similar to yours, or do they have concerns that you haven't voiced?
I am quite confident that their concerns are similar to mine. There are properties that abut immediately adjacent to this. If they have other concerns, I don't know. But these issues are very real. They're very real for the majority of the homeowners on the street. As I stated, we've been okay so far. We're kind of like at the higher end, elevation-wise, of Tuckahoe Avenue. Our property slopes differently than everyone else, and so we've been okay. However, and, no one has appointed me representative of the residents of Tuckahoe Avenue, but I'm here telling you tonight, it's real. It's there and it's real.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Hold on, anyone else from the public? No. Good.
I just want to clarify that 10-foot difference is existing grade, not the proposed grade of the road. The road is not, it has to be per code 1.5%, and that's the way it's been designed. We've worked with your consultants to design everything according to code. We've worked on the infrastructure. As I was going to say, the sewer has been designed. It's been designed together with your consultants, used Westchester County Health Department codes, New York State Health Department codes, whatever is required for designing sanitary sewer. I was with Veolia Water yesterday. We went over the infrastructure for the water main. They actually told me they're going to be doing some upgrades on the water main on Tuckahoe Avenue, and they're okay. They have enough water to service these 4 homes.
Yeah.
So all this was done, worked on. I just showed you the houses because last time I was here, you guys asked me, can you just give us just rough renderings of what you thought the homes would be? That's what was presented.
Oh, we did?
But we're here mostly for the subdivision like we all
Thank you.
know.
So just in further response to some of the points you brought up before you came, I wanted to say this. The reason, like, when this applications like this come in front of us, first we try and understand the existing conditions, what's there, and we're tasked to understand that and then confirm that no matter what the applicant says, that the conditions that are there are not made worse, and hopefully made better. I mean, we don't just say yes, someone has to prove to us that things aren't getting worse. If they are, then we're not very happy with this on all the applications. So but that's technical things like water, and as far as character and neighbor and all that, that's judgmental. But as far as the engineering aspects of the job, we're paying close attention to it. So we will continue talking about all those issues as we move forward, as you know. And they're being worked out right now, as you also said. In addition, we had a discussion about maybe something the developer could do to sort of make it a little bit better by putting a sidewalk along.
Yeah, that was one of the comments from the town's consulting traffic engineer, was that a sidewalk could be considered in between the subdivision road and White Plains Road.
I didn't get that memo.
Oh, I have it here. I mean, it was with the application materials. I can give it to you when we meet
Yeah,
next week.
yeah, that's fine, that's fine.
'Cause there's
Yeah, we
nothing-
can look at doing something, that's not a problem.
And that would get you from the end of the cul-de-sac to White Plains Road?
Right, but I was out at the site this morning.
Now?
There is a parking lot in between, so we would, the applicant doesn't own all that land in between the subdivision road and White Plains Road, so we'd have to work that out. There's a parking for one of the buildings on the opposite side of White Plains Road.
Yeah.
And there's like a mulch type area, an area with plantings that I think that property owner owns, so we would have to work that out. But I mean, a sidewalk would be beneficial for everyone there.
So is that what's shown right there on the site plan, next to the parking lot? Are those the plantings? Yeah, right there.
Yeah, this is the planting area, this is the driveway going in for this parking lot for the pizzeria, and I think they use this as well. So,
It would be as far as it could there, because it would go to whatever the driveway is, and then, okay.
that's one of the discussions I wanted to have with the highway department, the highway super, was, you know, how he would like to see the sidewalks, street lighting, you know, things of that nature. That's part of our meeting next week.
Okay. So for now, we see what you've done, and we're going to stand by until you meet with our consultants,
Yep.
and they give us recommendations, and we get to discuss this further.
Okay, great.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in, folks.
And thank you for giving us that vision of what it might look like. Thank you.
The next application is on Tuckahoe Avenue also. So it's 23-16, 38 Tuckahoe Avenue.
Good evening. My name is John Yanacito. I'm an architect, and I'm representing Mr. and Mrs. Tremelli this evening, the owners of the subject property. We are proposing additions and alterations to the existing single-family residence located at 38 Tuckahoe Avenue. I'm going to come up to the drawing to point out the scope of work. All right, so the proposed scope of work will include a two-story addition at the front and at the rear. And that's highlighted in the yellow, so it's that small piece there and then the larger piece at the rear. We're also proposing a new front entry portico, which is highlighted here in red. We're proposing a new wood deck at the rear, and then a new pool cabana behind the existing pool, which is highlighted here in green. Here is the rendering of the proposed front facade showing the finished materials. The siding is going to be a hardy plank siding in an Arctic white finish. The stone veneer is going to be a Greenwich blue finish. The roof over the main portion of the house is asphalt in a charcoal finish, and then the lower roof is going to be a standing seam metal roof in a black finish. The windows will be vinyl clad in a black finish. The trim boards and columns will be painted AZEK in a white finish. The railings will be composite in a white finish. The entry door and the overhead door will be fiberglass in a black finish. And the gutters will be aluminum in a white finish. This application was presented to the zoning board, and an area variance was granted for gross floor area back in June of 2023, so earlier this year. We also went in front of the Architectural Review Board earlier this month on September 7th, and the application was approved with two comments, or two recommendations. The first was to show the finishes on the steps and the landing of the portico, which is a stone finish with stone veneer with bluestone, landing and treads. And they also asked to add some stone veneer on either side of the overhead door on the garage side. So we've made those changes and shown them on the new drawings that we submitted to the planning board. And that's about it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, how does the height of this house compare to that of the neighboring homes?
So we submitted some photos of,
I think I'm looking for them now.
so most of the homes are 2 stories. This is a 2-story home also.
Yep.
So if we look at the existing, elevation here, so we're proposing to remove the roof, and we're just gonna basically, the eave line is staying in exactly the same location. It's just the roof pitch is being increased on the front. So this eave line here at the upper level is the same elevation it is today, and the ridge height is gonna be slightly higher than what it was on the existing. So if we look at the height, we have the existing eave and the proposed, so the existing eave is exactly where it was. And then here's the proposed ridge, which if we look at the zoning calculations, it'll tell us exactly what. So the existing ridge was 26.67, and the new ridge will be 32.67. And if we look at the houses next door, 36 Tuckahoe Avenue, it's a 2-story home. 34, it's a 2-story home. So most of the homes are
Yep.
2-story.
But your existing ridge is 32, right? Was 30, will,
Yeah, the new ridge is gonna be 32.
oh, the existing is 26.
The existing
right.
was 26, correct. It was almost, I mean, the pitch on the existing roof was really minimal. It's like a 4/12. So this one will be a little bit steeper.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm looking at the photos now of the, as well as getting a streetscape on Google Maps, and it looks like it'll fit. It'll fit with the character of that section of the street.
Oh, so the variance is just area, right?
So it's for the gross floor area, the house conforms with coverage. Just the overall floor area, we needed just a little bit more than what was required.
Got it.
Okay.
You could put back up your rendering.
What's that?
I like looking at it.
Okay.
It's always very handsome when you do something. Thank you. Okay, any more comments, guys? This is a public hearing, so I make a motion to open the public hearing on application 23-16, 38 Tuckahoe Avenue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So no comments. We're just going to keep going. Motion to close the public hearing, 23-16, 38 Tuckahoe Avenue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
And John, the zoning board approved the variance on the square footage, right?
The gross floor
Oh.
area.
Yeah, the gross floor area.
Yeah, back in June
Yeah.
13th.
Okay.
So the proposed floor area is 3493, and the permitted is 3,040.
Yep.
So we're over by 453 square feet.
Yeah, it's about 15% over.
Yeah,
Yep.
14.9, 15%, yes.
Good.
Okay.
There's nothing, no landscape plans with this?
It's an alteration, so the
Yeah, I mean,
landscaping
but there's
wasn't
nothing-
required.
Nothing's being changed?
They will do new landscaping, because we're doing a new veneer at the front, so it's being changed from brick to stone. So all that landscaping is gonna come up. We're also doing a small addition in the front, so that's going to involve some excavation, so that landscaping is going to have to be removed and replaced. So
But
they
there's
will
no
do a new
s-
landscaping.
No sizable trees that are being removed?
I don't think there's any sizable trees,
Yeah,
just
okay.
the shrubs in front of the house.
Got it.
Yeah, they're, no offense to anyone, unspectacular shrubs.
Yes.
Dude, the applicant may be here.
You agree?
Spectacular?
Unspectacular.
I think every shrub
They're
is
shrubs.
beautiful. Okay. So we're good, we can just approve?
We're going to put in spectacular shrubs.
I'd like that.
Okay, so, motion to approve this application, 2316 38 Tuckahoe Avenue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Cool.
Great,
You good
thank
to go?
you.
Good seeing you, John.
Guys on the end vote? I didn't hear you guys loud and clear, okay?
Aye.
Gotta yell it
All
loud
right,
and
yeah.
proud, okay?
Looks very good,
All
thanks,
right,
John.
thanks, John.
Looks nice.
Next application is 2324 65 Middle Road.
Good evening. I'm Maggie Marone, the architect for Mrs. Yount, who's the owner of the 65 Middle Road. The idea was to add a small addition in the front of the house for a first-floor master bathroom so that Mrs. Yount could move downstairs and have a first-floor bedroom. It's a lot as she ages, because she wants to stay in the house forever. And then also push out a little bit in the front for where there's a powder room to make a laundry area so that she won't have to go downstairs to the basement for laundry. It's going to continue. We went to the Architectural Review Board last month, a couple weeks ago, and they suggested changing the roof right now over the new addition, which was going to be a standing seam copper roof, to a grayish to be more in keeping with the slate roof that's on the house. And also this little bump out here, which is the bedroom area, or it's actually the bathroom behind the bedroom, originally we were going to do clapboard, but we changed it to brick. So we're going to reuse as much brick as we can from the original house and try and match as best we can for the front of the house, the new addition. There's a bay window here. It's kind of a box bay window. It's got AZAC finish underneath it. And there is the portico is just being pushed out just a little bit to have the columns. There'll also be AZAC finish. That's right but they're pretty much the same size as what's there before. So it's a small addition. It's 152 square feet, very small. And there's no variance required. It's all within setbacks and
No one's touching that nice hedge that goes up to on the walkway, right?
yeah, there's a hedge right there.
And no one's gonna mess with that, right?
Right.
Okay, that's good.
Actually, it's not right next to the house, but it looks
Yeah.
like it is.
Yeah, no, I can see where it is. See, it's very nice.
These are spectacular hedges, Phil.
I'm not gonna quite go spectacular, but it's very nice.
These are nicer than the other ones, they're beautiful.
Well done.
Who trims them? Yeah, they're really nice. Okay, very nice. I think it's perfect.
Yes, so you said the ARB suggested changing from the copper seam roof onto the addition.
I was originally going to have black roof, black standing seam. Now it's gray.
It's great, okay,
It's slightly different, a little bit more muted.
yep. And was that the, I'm sorry if I missed it, was that the only suggestion that they
The
made?
other one was, originally this little addition was going to have clapboard to match the side of the house.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were a little unsure about whether we'd have enough brick to reuse.
Yes.
But I think we will be able to use it.
Good, good. No, I think the rationale behind this application is a very sturdy one and a
Yeah.
good one, and it makes a lot of sense, and it's not a very large change. It's a very practical change, and one that I think will be executed very well.
Right.
So,
Are those two gables new or are those existing?
The gables are existing.
Oh, I can't see them behind the tree. Okay, got
Oh.
Yep.
No, they're
Okay.
there. They're just behind.
it, got it. All right, hang on, we got to do a public hearing, see if anyone has anything has anyone to say. So I make a motion to open the public hearing application 230859 Overlook Avenue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thumbs up, we're good. No objections, so I make a motion to close this public hearing, 230859 Overlook.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, just to clarify, this was 65 Middle Road,
Sorry.
application 23-24.
That's why you're here.
Yeah.
Phil's usually the one that corrects me. All right, now we know the one to approve, so I'll get that right. So unless there's other comments from us, I
No.
make a motion to approve application 2324 65 Middle Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, very nice.
Great, thank you very much.
Nice meeting you, good luck.
The guys at the end approved that, too?
Yes.
Okay.
He said no.
Said I, okay.
It's their first time. They deserve a little bit of grief.
Okay, so this application is 59 Overlook. Next application is 2308 59 Overlook.
All right. Thank you.
Good evening, board members. Adamo Majorano from Community Designs and Engineering. On behalf of the owner, Angelo Shalaba, we are proposing additions and alterations to 59 Overlook Avenue. The proposed project is situated in the R5 zoning district. It's a corner lot, so the front of the house faces Overlook, and the side, left side yard is Ridge Street, which is technically the zoning front setback. So in that case, the overall objective of this whole sort of project and renovation is really to create a user-friendly plan layout for the interior and sort of the exterior for the occupants that are, occupying the space, and for them to, sort of grow in this house and stay here for a while. So existing right now, there is a garage on the right-hand side when you're looking at the house from Overlook, and you have to sort of walk out of the kitchen, go around the garage, and use the only occupiable lawn area and patio, which is on the right side. So obviously also the garage blocks the whole view of, you can't see this yard from the kitchen or anything. So we're taking that existing garage, removing it, adding a new one-story garage on the left-hand side, and that's where we obtained a zoning variance, because technically this is the front yard setback, and we, it's a very small, one-story garage, but again, it's here on the left-hand side. Now, with doing that, we could extend the house to the right-hand side, creating more space for the first floor, kitchen and whatnot, and then the second floor is master bedroom and bathroom, and also on the first floor, outside of the kitchen, is a covered patio. So if I go to the elevations, so in doing so, obviously the entire house is going to have new finishes throughout: hardy plank siding, asphalt shingle roof, some standing seam metal roofs as accent roofs over the front. This is where the garage was. Now it's an addition with a covered patio. The windows are Anderson 400 series windows, black finish, as well as the front door and garage door. There's some cedar wrapped columns and corbels on top as sort of accent features. AZAC finished throughout the fascia boards and the railings. Then where else are we? For, streetscape, again, as mentioned, to the left-hand side, there is no house because it's Ridge Street. So this house is pretty far away, again, because this is sort of our rear yard, which is next to the house there. I go to...
Do you think that's to scale the streetscape?
Yeah, so we're not changing the height of the house at all, but
No.
to try to get an idea of where that is, it's about, because the elevation grade changes. Again, yeah, the existing roof line stays the same, and then our addition is...
It's always a little bit higher. It's always been a little bit, it appears to be a little bit higher than
Yeah,
that.
the existing house here is a little bit higher, because it's a cape story next to it, but still pretty shallow roof pitch and whatnot for the existing home. Then the addition, like I said, is steps in a little bit, so it's probably about 6 inches lower on the ridge of the addition.
Got it.
And just to go as far as the architecture, our good friends at the Architecture Review Board, we did receive 2 comments, basically, or suggestions. One was the landscape plan, just to change the sizing of one of the evergreens to make it smaller. So that we did. We did the landscape, even though it's an addition renovation, but for part of the zoning board, we did a full landscape plan just to show how the garage will sort of, you know, not be just plopped on the side there. It'll be screened and nicely landscaped, so it looks like that was, you know, an existing, you know, sort of condition and was sort of meant to be there. Other than that, yeah, there was just the sconce lighting catalog cut of what we were using. We added that to the elevation keynote in your packet.
So what's the overall change in impervious surface?
There you go, you beat me to it. So, not much. I think we're adding about 200 square feet, but we are, I'll go back to the site plan, but we are considering basically almost all the area that we are sort of modifying. We're gonna capture what stormwater management, the entire new garage and driveway area, and also the new addition and covered patio. So basically in our calculation, we're like over 1,000 square feet of modified impervious, but the net change is like 200 square feet. So it's sort of a beneficial aspect to the whole project and also along with zoning.
Sorry, explain that to me. Explain how 1,000 gets to 250.
So
Yeah.
it's hard to really explain the exact numbers.
Do
Basically,
your
the net
best.
change is like 200, but
Okay.
you know, instead of just capturing water for 200 square feet, the modified area that, you know, is receiving new leaders and gutters, we basically calculated the entire area that's going to go to those new chambers. So instead of, you know, otherwise then they would be very undersized. So the new garage will be captured and that area is obtained for, and then the proposed, the existing home has, you know, leaders that already go to subsurface, you know, something that we don't know. So the modified area, which comes out to about 1,000 square feet, is what we calculated in our stormwater management.
Okay.
I like the idea to change the house so you can see out on the, yeah, that's
That
brilliant.
was the whole,
Because most corner
problem,
lots, that sort of gets lost and it's
Totally.
never used. You go out there and play and
that is
no one can see it.
our
Yeah,
whole dilemma with the owner was, you know, do we move? And we don't want to move, we want to stay, so
yeah, that was
obviously,
brilliant.
we had to go to the zoning board because the only place to locate the garage was on that side, which
Yeah, I would have done the same if I were you,
is there.
so to speak. Okay, cool, thank you. You know the drill, stand by. So this is application 23-08, 59 Overlook Avenue. I make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
What do you think, Louis? So I make a motion to close the public hearing on application 23-08, 59 Overlook.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nice job. And to finish off, approve, make a motion to approve this application 23-08, 59 Overlook.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Mariano.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to see you again. Last is 2327, 360 White Plains Road.
Joe, Mike, you're getting all the all-star team of.
Thank you, have a good night.
Yeah, it's all the all-stars.
Damo, we got John
It's
Yanacito.
all the locals.
This guy looks just like a guy who used to sit on this board.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Just so you know, it's referred to as the trifecta.
The triangle of doom.
That's why we're just listening tonight. That was Jay King's old line.
Yeah.
So, good evening, board, to the new members. Thank you for your service. Louis Campana, architect, on behalf of the applicant, Hall Place Realty LLC. We're before you this evening for a preliminary review for a new two-story building on an existing developed site. The property, which is known as 360 White Plains Road, is situated on the northeast corner of the intersection between White Plains Road and Cypress Road. And the property is located in the ORB zone. So what we are proposing to do here is construct a two-story building in the back parking lot of what we all know as the Chase Bank. We're also very familiar with the Chase Bank property and can all come to the same conclusion that the back parking lot, as you can see in this picture here, is for the most part unutilized. So the owner approached me with the idea of enhancing the usability or the use of the site, and in doing so, we've come up with this scheme. Here's some photographs of the existing site and some overhead views. Here's the building, the existing building, where we have a karate studio in the basement, a nail salon, Sherwin-Williams paint store, and the Chase Bank. Here's the parking lot in the rear. Front of the building facing west on White Plains Road. We have the south elevation, and then here we have the north elevation with the entrance down into the karate studio, and then the east elevation, which has access into the building and also a loading area for trucks in the back. The existing site is 57,000 square feet, and the existing square footage of the existing building, I should say, is 10,139 square feet. The proposed structure is proposed at 5,694 square feet. Here are some photographs of the neighboring properties, and again, the 200-foot radius map showing some of those properties that we'll be discussing. 344 White Plains Road is directly on the opposite side of Cypress Road. That's where we have the nail salon, we have country markets, I believe, and a dance studio. Opposite White Plains Road to the west is AMHAC building. To the north, we have the Walgreens property, and then we have 4 residential properties which back up to the parking lot. So that brings me to the next set of discussion is, which has to do with the proximity to a residential zone. So the typical, if you have a commercial property within 150 feet of a commercial zone, there are regulations that supersede the area and bulk regulations of your typical ORB zone or property in the ORB zone. Most of those have to do with building height and also proximity of parking lot to the residential zone and principal structure to the residential zone as well. We'll go back to this in a little bit, but I'll explain some of those regulations and the variances that are required. So here's a basic site plan. Here's the new structure, which will be located in the rear. So based on that 150-foot threshold, which applies to us here, the setback to a parking area is 20 feet from the property line adjacent to that residential zone. And currently we have only 3 to 7 feet, so it varies along that eastern property line. Okay, so it's an existing condition that we're proposing to keep and enhance. In terms of the other 2 variances that would be required, one is the parking. So currently, I believe only 64 spaces are required for the existing building. There are 114 total existing. With the new building, we would be removing some of those spaces, but the required for this would be, I believe, 33 parking spots for the new building. That would cater to 2 offices on the second floor and 2 spaces on the first floor as well. So I believe the deficit is about 15 parking spaces. The third variance, which is required here, is a bit different from, never really come across it before, so this is my first time with this one, but if you have a commercial property which fronts a road or a street that leads into a residential area, you're not allowed without a variance to front a commercial storefront on that street. So the variance would be to allow a storefront facing Cypress, or the front of a building facing Cypress. You'll notice that the nail salon across Cypress, it's a blank wall, and then another large parking lot in the back, which gets more use. Here, the Chase Bank, just a white wall with the ATM. There's a couple other instances like that around Eastchester.
Interesting one.
If you had just hearing you explain the rule, the zoning requirement, if somehow you were to have the doors, the entrance facing the opposite side of the building, that would not be, that would be compliant or would not require the variance?
My understanding is that the variance would not be required.
Okay.
However, it
Yeah.
would not be an enhancement. So that's the trade-off.
Yeah.
So the variance is to have that facing Cypress, right?
Yes, correct.
Because you wouldn't want it facing Chase Bank.
Or, yes, or the houses on next door, or the parking lot behind Walgreens.
Way, right? Okay.
So here's the south elevation of the building. What we're doing is we are reflecting the materials, the existing materials of the existing building. All right? So here in that, part of the regulations that apply here, because of that 150-foot to residential zone, also is the building height. You're conforming to the building height. We're at 29 foot 10 inches. The maximum is 30 when you're within that 150 feet. But if you're outside of that 150 feet, it would be 45 feet in terms of building height. So we're just underneath that maximum building height. We are using the similar storefronts in terms of color material as the existing structure, as it fronts on White Plains Road. We have white painted brick. We're going to match the slate roof, which is on the other building as well, and also the white aluminum caps on top of the parapet. The purpose of this roof is also to mask utilities that would be located behind it, like HVAC condensers, exhaust vents, things of that nature. The windows would be black aluminum Anderson 400 series windows, and the signage would also match the same color palette as the Chase Bank, which is the blue and white. The gooseneck fixtures, which are on top of the sign, will also match the existing white gooseneck fixtures that are on the existing building as well. One of the elements that we've introduced here is a recessed front entrance. So the second floor comes over the front entrance, creating a covered walkway, and that lands on these columns, which create the covering. This is the east elevation. So we took the same sort of gable parapet detail and we ran it around the building just to soften the mass a bit. So this is the elevation that actually is looking towards the residential properties. Here again, same materials. Here's that opening for the walkway. We have scuppers and leaders draining the parapet, and an opening here, which actually will be screened with planting. You'll see in the landscape plan. The entrance to the parking, which is located here, is from behind the building on the north side. This is the north elevation. This is where the parking area would be. We have a door that would go into the first floor areas, and then also a door that would have access to the second floor with a wide opening. We have 3 parking spots here. I believe 2 are regular and 1 would be an ADA compliant. So it would be adding 1 additional ADA spot to the parking facility. And then this is the elevation which faces the rear of the existing building. So this is where we would be accessing utilities, accessing the roof. Between the two buildings is where we would be locating dumpsters, where there would be loading as well. And we kept a 14-foot width between the sidewalk of the existing building and the face of the new building.
So this is the only location that would have the utilities exposed, because it's covered on the other sides?
That's right, yes. And the parapet, so the parapet which wraps the three sides, right?
Right.
But then here, it's just a parapet without the roof.
And this is facing?
This faces the building, the existing building.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to go through the 2D elevations first, because in the rendering, the perspective at which it's taken, you don't really see the gables in the back. So I just wanted to point that out.
Before you go on, can I just ask you one question?
Yeah.
The elevation that's facing the residences,
Yes,
it's that one, right?
yes,
So that's going to be a big white wall.
yes.
It's going to be painted a white brick wall. It's not a
Well, there's landscaping that will be down below to soften the height and,
soften it a
This
little bit, but I'm looking at
space.
what's there right now, and it's really,
well, right now, it's a railing, it's a ramp,
Yeah,
it's a
it's not-
garage door.
it's-
You can see the big HVAC vent
it's-
that's on
I think
top of
that's
the
going to be,
building.
is it the same, is the ridge the same height, or it's taller
This one's a little bit taller
than what's here?
than what's it. The existing building is a one-story,
Yeah.
but in the back of the existing building, there's a
Pops up.
large bulkhead, but that elevation continues to, for I believe, the entire face of the back of the building.
What's between the properties? I see there's grass. I never really look. Is it grass, or is there trees and stuff?
Between properties, meaning between residential and
Yeah.
commercial? There's
Fence.
just.
Fence
yeah,
and
there's a-
trees.
There's a fence which is going to be replaced on top of an existing concrete wall. The wall is approximately 42 to 48 inches high. The fence is an additional 48 inches on top of that.
Okay.
And then the neighbors do have planting, but they haven't really screened their properties from view of the existing building. So really, it's just the fence.
Does the,
That's on top.
does the fence obstruct their line of sight to seeing it, or?
I mean, their properties are raised to the top of that retaining wall.
Okay, it's above.
So it's really only the fence, and there is a lack of screening on those properties. So with the landscaping that we will be introducing, you'll see in the plan, there's landscaping that will be enhancing the existing grass strip along that western property line, a new fence, and then against the building and around the perimeter, we've designed, the landscape architect has designed planting beds to basically just soften the elevation of the building.
All right, I guess we're going too fast. Right, so there are plans for it, to answer the
Yes.
question. Just back to the parking quickly.
Yeah.
If you don't mind. So it's like a huge amount of parking. You're right, it's 114 spaces. And how many do you think are being eliminated with the building that you're proposing? I mean, the number is still going to be large, right?
I'm sorry?
The remaining parking space is still going to be pretty large, right?
Yeah, I mean, well,
Yeah, just give us the raw numbers again, because I think you
Okay,
said right
so-
now there's a glut of parking,
Right.
and there is technically going to be a shortage of parking once you eliminate
correct.
and you add the requirement of additional parking
Right.
because of the new building.
Right.
So give me the numbers, give us the numbers.
Scale back from 114.
Existing, what's required now and what's existing, how many are being removed, which will give us the number that will be existing, and how many are required.
Okay. So right now, the requirement based on the uses of the existing building are 67 spaces. There are currently 114, which includes 5 ADA spaces. The proposed building, I believe, reduces that amount. I go to the engineering drawing, sorry. I can count it. There's a strip of parking right in the middle of the back parking lot. All of these spaces will be removed. I'll count. Just bear with me.
Okay.
22 spaces. All right, so
Are the ones alongside the
there's, I
the
believe
east
there's.
side of the Building 1 going to remain, or
I-
are they going to be removed as well?
I believe there's one here that is being removed on the corner, so maybe 23 spaces. This one right here.
That still leaves 90 spaces.
Yeah.
One or something like that.
So
How are you?
the new building will require 33 spaces.
The offices.
So we're at 100 spaces required. We're left with 85.
Oh, it's 67 is existing, 33 is additional. That's 100. We only have whatever we just said.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And we have also, included in your package is a traffic study. A traffic study by Stephen Mafia. And his results show less than a 1% increase in peak traffic flow for this building. I'm not going to try to speak for him. Yeah, but it's de minimis in terms of his traffic study.
Would there be a change in the flow of the traffic? Because it's like a horseshoe-shaped lot where it's one way in, one way out. Would that building obstruct any of the traffic flow in or out?
So currently, yeah, you are right. It's one way in and one way out. So the parking, just go back to this point here. So typically, I use the bank on a weekly basis, and what occurs is when you pull into to this location here and the curb cut, you would either come down here and utilize these parallel parking spots or perpendicular parking spots here, or these along the storefront. So when exiting, typically, when I use it, I would typically go out to Cypress and back out to White Plains Road. But if here, you would then exit quickly out this way here back to 22 on the north side of the property. These parking spots here are typically used for the karate studio that's down below. And those people, I could imagine, would either coming from the residential area behind, come in through Cypress and then around, or those who are coming from 22, sometimes would come here, but they would just also come around the building. Right now, with that island of parking in the center, which there aren't really any cars parked there ever.
Never seen one.
Maybe one
Didn't even know it was
once in a
there,
blue
yeah.
It's currently the drive lane.
You kind of just you're playing chicken with the one car who's parked there because people are just driving anywhere,
Yeah.
right? So hopefully this would actually organize the traffic flow through the property and not have a negative impact on it.
But the circulation now is exactly what you said. It's horseshoe. You come in that way, and you have to leave that way.
Correct. Yeah, there's no point in going
Right?
this way.
You can't go that way because you're parking, you'd have to
Right.
do a U-turn to go to Krantz.
So anybody leaving the new proposed location would have to go out towards White Plains Road, around the back?
If anyone is parking in these spots here,
Yep.
yeah, they would pull out because of those angled parking spots, and then just exit.
They all have to go out that way. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was sort of a natural setup, and that's why it's actually located where it is. There were studies that we did, and I know it's not before you, but building was back here, and it didn't make sense.
So where you have that, where's the current waste disposal or trash picked up? And for the existing building, and where's yours going?
So right now, they're just haphazardly placed somewhere along
Oh,
this
it's in the picture.
area
They
here.
have the dumpsters in the back.
Do they?
So what we're proposing is, and you'll see in the landscape plan as well, we have a planting bed here with vertically growing evergreen that would help screen this area, and then we're proposing to put them back in here.
And that would be the Chase buildings plus?
It would be shared,
Right,
yeah,
be
at
shared.
that point,
Same owner, same pickup.
correct.
Got it. Are there, how would they access that? So how do garbage trucks come in now? Well, I guess they're,
It's
Yes.
private, I think it's private pickup. I think they just come in from Cyprus, quite frankly. I don't think they come in through here or here. Just easier access from Cyprus. So
but they have room now to make a turn and.
they would
and
come,
in.
they would have to come around this way and then access the garbage from back here. Or they can pull in this way and then access garbage from here.
Right, so they have to
But they would have
pull
to
out.
back out.
They have to pull out the dumpsters manually and then lift them, I guess, because the truck can't go in there.
Right. Yeah, the truck would probably, most likely, and part of this would be striping and, you know, where we would have arrows showing and directing.
It's not changing very much.
Yeah.
Does the fire department have to look at this, or?
I'm sure at some point they will, yes.
They will, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, we'll look at it, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, back to your presentation, sorry.
Okay. Where was I? Oh, right there was a- So we have a rendering, which isn't the best perspective, but because you don't see all the roof behind, because I had them purposely actually just put it at a level where you would be driving in a car. So currently, there's existing arrows which, you know, you enter the property, but we'll have to have others directing traffic. But we have the white brick, the aluminum cap on the parapet, you have the signs, the gooseneck fixtures. But the one thing that needs to be revised here are the widths of these columns. They were rendered a bit too slender. They're supposed to be 24 inches in width. This looks to only be about 12, so we'll get that fixed. Here we have planting beds located in the front of that walkway area. We have the evergreens, which are located here on the side. That's the area where we have access into the existing basement of the building.
You said the existing has a basement and this is going to have a basement as well?
Yes, yeah. The basement will be used for storage for the units above. Storage, elevator, machine room, elevator. So Cacho Engineering is our civil engineer. He was not able to be here tonight. His father's having heart surgery, emergency heart surgery, so I'll do my best. So on site, we have an existing drain inlet. All right, we are proposing to reuse the existing drain inlet, and Lucas was kind enough to provide you guys with an 8.5 by 11 showing the Coltec system. The layer was turned off on his drawing, so when it was printed, it did not show. So there's about 32 units which are going to be going in beneath the parking surface. That'll be located on the southeastern side of the property. Okay, that drain inlet would drain into that system there, along with also the leader drains from the roof. The existing utilities, we are proposing to connect to the existing utilities inside the existing building, so as to not impact or have any work being done within town right away or on the roadways. So we would be connecting waste, water, and electric to the existing building, and obviously upsizing those utilities.
In the existing?
Right.
As needed?
Correct. Construction access will be off of Cypress, so we get those trucks off of White Plains Road, since we know that's a disaster already. And then all of the work will be contained in the rear of the building. There are other drain inlets around the property. Those have been videoed, and that information is going to be shared with Mr. Tremelli.
Louis, are there any other two-story commercial buildings on the, I guess, the east side of White Plains Road, in that expanse from, let's say, the Country Market to all the way to Mill Road?
So Walgreens,
Is that a two-story, or is it just?
it's the height
Okay.
is two-story.
But I'm talking about actually.
Like
two
actual
stories of
two-story?
use. Yeah.
I'm just trying to
I'm not
drive
thinking
down the
of
street
any
in
of-
my,
yeah.
in my,
I
in
think
my
across
mind
the
here.
street, yes, not here.
So I would say on the east side, it would probably only be the Walgreens, but if you go down just a little bit further, the True Value. And then primarily, the two-story buildings would be located most likely on the western side
yep.
of White Plains Road. In
Mhm.
some instances, you have three-story.
And did you say the entrance to the second floor would be in the back of the building?
That's right.
But the entrances to the storefronts, there looks like two storefronts.
The main
are-
entrance would be, main entrance for the storefronts would be from the Cypress
Yeah,
elevation.
yeah.
Right, and then,
The glass doors. that are-
right, and then the door in the back is more so for egress purposes. Right, but on the second floor, they would access through the back,
Where's the office entrance?
in the back,
Back.
In the back,
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
think, sure.
yeah. So,
And what would the office space look like again?
so here are the two spaces on the first floor. You can see there's access here to the rear, egress purposes, and here's the second floor. So there's an office up front, and then there's an office in the back. We have two bathrooms, elevator, storage, and then the stair, the egress stair. And then the basement, we have the elevator and also the stair going down into the basement for mechanical and storage.
How many, the number we said you needed for that was 30?
33.
How many workstations could you fit in those? If you were, like, how many people are actually gonna be working there? I know that's speculation, but
Yeah, I mean, it is sort of speculation. I mean, in terms of clearances, you know, you could lay out a space based on just, you know, minimum clearances. I mean, I count
how many
the
total square
chairs,
feet? It's
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14 people here.
the
But
floor-
that's just based on clearances. That's
The
the max.
floor plate is 25, no, how many square feet?
The
The building, the second floor?
the first floor is roughly 2,300 because, you know, we have some space outside
Right.
in the front and back. And the second floor is about 3,500.
So it's like 35 plus another 15 or something, it's like 5,000 square feet?
Yeah.
Somewhere around.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And the last is the landscape plan. Not going to try to pronounce all these names. So Robert Tramontano is our landscape architect. And in collaboration, what we've done was, again, created planting beds in front of the building, along the side of the building here, and then also along the side of the parking area. That will, even though the neighbors next door are higher in elevation, that'll help soften the building and screen the parking, which they could most likely see from their properties. Here along the perimeter, we have a series of hydrangea and evergreen planting. He was sensitive, the architect was sensitive in choosing plant material that will withstand salt when salting in the winter, and, you know, just abuse from plow trucks and what have you. We're also introducing two islands or peninsulas, one here up front, and then one also in the back corner as well. That one spot that I spoke of at the back rear is being replaced with the planting bed. And then along the existing back corner of the building, that's where we're going to have They're called castle wall hollies. So they basically grow vertically, and they can be trimmed nicely. And then here along the face of the existing building, because that is just an expanse of white, we're introducing a wire trellis with a wisteria on the trellis, and then below that would be a short planting bed with other material. And then along the perimeter, the existing plants, an existing grass strip, and there's a series of trees that were planted, a number of years ago, which also help soften the view of the building.
Those are town trees?
Yes. Yeah.
I guess then we're looking at this, I'm looking at the existing spaces, parking spaces, and as far as cars backing out, that's dimension is what located here, planters, right? The ones right there.
Here?
Yeah, the ones closer to you, closer to the plant, right by your new building, your proposed?
Here.
Yep.
The dimension from here to here?
Yeah, in general. I mean, there's enough room for those cars to back out.
Yeah, I believe because of the angle, I don't have it in my mind, but I believe it's 18 feet.
And that's what you have?
Yeah.
Same with the ones?
Yeah, here. Yeah.
What do you have by the existing residences in the back there? 6TM is what's a 6TM?
Those are hydrangea. He doesn't actually have that here, but that will be updated to show the hydrangea.
They're not big, but they're pretty.
Right, they're not going to grow to screen from the neighbors. It's more just to basically beautify that section of the property, because right now it's just a blank, unkempt wall.
Are we doing lighting or existing lighting?
There's going to be lighting that's going to be affixed to the side of the building to cater to the parking area here. I believe there's existing lighting in the back here as well, and also along this side. These lights are affixed to the building, same thing on this side here. In terms of lighting on the building itself, we have those sconces, the gooseneck sconces, and then we have sconces that'll be located on those columns, which will be up and down lights, just highlighting those columns.
Is everything? Yeah. Okay. I think we put you through your steps. Thank you. I think it's nice.
Thank
you. Every time I pass that parking lot, it just looks like a stark, barren parking lot, which, although I hate to see development, it means more people and everything, it's not really too pretty right now.
Yeah.
I think this is an enhancement that's that's going to, it'll look a lot nicer than an empty parking lot. Cool. What are we doing next? Public hearing and then whatever you
Well,
say. Right.
I guess the next step would be to refer it to the zoning board of appeals for
Variances.
the variances. And you can also make recommendations. The zoning law allows you to make recommendations to the zoning board of appeals if you want to. Or you can just simply refer it with no recommendations. It's up to you.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to deny anything here, the parking is pretty
I
much
think we
no-brainer.
simply refer.
Yeah, I do. Let's just, so we can open the public hearing and then just hold this, right?
Right, and then it'll come back. And in the meantime, also, there's another referral we have to make, which is to the county planning board. So if you're okay with the plans to be referred to the county, I can do that tomorrow.
Lucas, was this notice for a public hearing?
No, it wasn't.
Right.
No. But the county planning board has to have 30 days to review it before you make a decision. So I can, if you're fine with generally, if you're not asking for any major changes to the plan, I would recommend just referring it to the county planning board. That way, that box is checked, and then you would have the comments back the next time it's in front of you.
We could do that right now?
I can do it in the morning.
Do I have to make a motion for that?
No, it's administrative. I mean, if you want to, you can.
That would be,
I can just do it.
that would be showmanship. We're good. Okay, so then it's just about the zoning?
Correct, yeah.
Correct,
It can,
You have
More
to
comments, guys? or-
take a vote to refer to zoning?
Yeah.
Yep.
Any more comments, guys?
No more.
Yeah, just the light facing the existing housing, would that be muted or, just to not cause like light pollution going into their
So, yeah, so there will be directional LED lights, and the advantage of the directional LED lights is that there's zero overspill. So it'll be directed downward
yeah.
and not, yeah. And luckily, the surface that it's lighting is much lower than their property, so they won't get that, yeah.
Reverb or, yeah, reflection. Okay.
Is that the one at the corner, upper left corner?
Sorry?
Where is that light that is being referred to?
He was talking about the lights that would be affixed to the side
At
of the
the
building.
existing. There's no
Yeah.
lights at the corners of the parking lot, are there? Like at the edges?
I don't
think
believe so. I
Yeah.
believe there may be one back in here.
Existing.
I would have to document it, but yeah,
Yeah.
for the lighting plan.
Great, so then I'm going to make a motion to refer this application 23-27, 360 White Plains Road to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Cool.
All right.
We're good?
All set? Yeah.
Got nothing else to do? Okay.
All right, see you next time.
See-
right.
Thank you very
Next
much.
time.
Have a nice evening. And then I make a motion to close the Town of Eastchester Planning Board meeting of Thursday, September 28, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good.
Thank you.